Today we're going to talk about something which is hugely controversial and tends to come up on IB examinations very often. This is 2018. The case study for paper 1 this year, a large focus is outsourcing. So there's a very big likelihood that students will have to write about outsourcing. So whether the company should outsource or not. So you need to be able to show both sides of the argument before maybe you make a final decision. But nevertheless, outsourcing in the past 20-30 years has been very, very controversial. Lots and lots of American elections, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, one of the things they have in common, and they don't have a lot of things in common, is they've talked a lot about outsourcing American jobs going overseas, and why that, for them, maybe politically, is a bad thing. Whether it's a good thing economically, that's maybe a different story. But nevertheless, from a political standpoint, jobs going overseas, they view it as being potentially a bad thing. Okay, I will touch a little bit on that later on. But nevertheless, outsourcing is when a business stops producing a particular part, or maybe it closes a function. You know, human resources, IT, research and development, marketing, etc. And they get another company to supply that for them or do it for them. Okay? Obviously, the big advantages of doing that, hopefully, it's going to cost less. Hopefully, the people you're outsourcing to, maybe they're going to do a better job than you can, or at the very, very least maintain quality. Many international schools. This school, where I teach, the food in the cafeteria is provided by UREST. Maybe your school also uses UREST. And from the principal's point of view, that's a good thing, because then the principal doesn't need to worry about how we're going to go about producing lunches or the foods which are eaten at break time. Because the principal would say, the key thing I have to concentrate on is the education of the students here. If we outsource it to a specialist company, then that's not a major concern of mine. Maybe it becomes more of a concern when contracts are renewed, but in the day-to-day running of the kitchen, that's going to be the focus of UREST, not the principal. He can focus on what happens in this classroom. Now, disadvantages. You maybe lose control of a vital function. If you close your marketing department and the company for which takes over doing your marketing does a really bad, lousy job, after a year, if you're going to try and reopen your marketing department, obviously all those people have gone and found new jobs, those people you made redundant. The office, maybe where you located marketing, that's been closed, that's now been used for something else. So it's going to take you a long time to recruit people, to get the marketing department back up to speed. So that's a major disadvantage. Alright? Obviously, that is then linked very clearly to quality. If you're using someone to produce parts for you, if you need to make changes to your products, can these people actually make those changes quickly? Because demand may change, customer needs may change. The major supplier of Apple's iPhone phones is Samsung. Apple needs to share information with Samsung. Samsung is also the major competitor of Apple's iPhone because they make the Galaxy range. All right. Some of you may well know that Apple and Samsung at various times have been in the courts litigating against each other, suing each other for stealing each other's ideas. Some people may think, therefore, it's a bit strange, why does Apple use Samsung? Okay, because they got to share their ideas with Samsung. So therefore, it shouldn't really be that big a surprise if the Galaxy and the iPhone are a little bit similar. I don't know who's copied whom. Alright? Now, there's lots and lots of success stories to do with outsourcing. There's lots and lots of failures as well. If you go to Google, or you go to Yahoo or Bing, and you just type in outsourcing successes, there's lots of examples, just as there's lots of examples about outsourcing failures. Now, that then brings us to offshoring. Offshoring is slightly different to outsourcing. Offshoring, the company keeps doing a particular function or keeps producing the particular parts, but it doesn't do that in, say, Germany or the United States. They decide to start making that part or doing that function elsewhere. Okay? And quite often that is because, let's say if you're a German car company and you close a factory in Germany and open it in Poland, wages are going to be a lot lower. Maybe the labour laws, maybe general administration laws in the country make it a little bit easier to do business. But then maybe what you do then is you just continue selling the cars which have been made in Poland. You just continue selling them in Germany. Alright? So the cost goes down as long as you can maintain quality. Then why not do that? If you're somebody who believes in the free market, you would say that a company's main responsibility is to the shareholders, creating value, creating profit for the shareholders, and making your customers happy. German car company, therefore, if they want to move their production facilities to Poland, maybe that means the quality is maintained, maybe quality is improved, you're able to maybe lower your price, you get more customers, and at the same time you're able to increase your market share, you're able to increase your profits. You make your shareholders happy. Many people believe that. However, the course you do is very much driven by things like ethics and things like corporate social responsibility. Right? So in the final exams, you must be able to show the other side. If you are maybe a German car company, it's maybe not ethical to be closing your production facilities in Germany and making lots of German people unemployed. Okay, so you need to show a little bit of balance there. Okay, but nevertheless, this is very, very controversial. And finally, we have reshoring, which is the opposite of offshoring. So let's say an American company has closed its factory, opened the factory in China. Increasingly, there's a trend for those American companies to close the Chinese factory and come back to America. Okay, and there's a number of reasons for that. The Chinese wages, I live in China, this is Shanghai where I'm making this video. Wages have increased greatly in the 15 years since I've been here. So the wage gap between America and China has narrowed a lot. Okay? Products that are made in China obviously have to be sent to America, which can take a long time. There's lots of administration involved in doing that. That takes time. Doing business in China, well, there's, at a basic level, there are language differences, and there are also be cultural differences between how a company will do business in the two countries. There's time differences. Communication becomes more difficult, just not connected even just to language. When Americans are working, Chinese are sleeping, and vice versa. Alright, so that makes it a little bit harder to do business. So as a result of that, a lot of American companies are saying, okay, maybe the cost of doing business in America, or producing the product in America is 15% higher than China, but all these other sort of more intangible aspects like language, time, etc., and administrative, those intangible factors mean it's more worthwhile for us to make the product in the United States. Also, it might well make the president very, very happy. Okay, and here's just a graph which shows where are the jobs being reshored from with relation to the United States, and they're being reshored from China, Germany, Japan, Mexico, Canada, Switzerland, South Korea, etc., etc. So, to finish, the type of question you're going to get about outsourcing or offshoring will relate to like a sort of balanced response. You're going to have to give reasons for, reasons against. I tend to still have a little bit of the free market here about myself, but nevertheless, in your written answers, you've got to try and show balance. All right, maybe why offshoring or outsourcing is not a good thing before you come arguably to a end conclusion, which you would have to do, say, for a 10-mark question or 20-mark question. For the 6-mark question, you just have to show maybe reasons for and reasons against, but nevertheless, you must show balance. Thank you.